No,
I cannot.
girl. Okay, hold on. Let me get my little studio is so tiny,
It's
which
so
is why I
cute.
have decent acoustics. My studio slash office.
I love it. I love it. So we are live, Faith, on Facebook,
Ooh,
and
hey, Tawana Hill. What's
and
happening, girlfriend?
I know. How are you today?
Girl, I'm so good. Thank God for technology, and technology is the devil at the same time.
We love it and we hate it all at the same time.
Yes. 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 And that's why we have teenage kids to help us.
Yes, yes, they are fantastic and awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for doing this. I'm one of your biggest fans, and I
And
cannot
I'm
wait.
yours.
Well, thank you. So I'm gonna play my theme song,
All right.
but
All
before
right.
okay, but before I play my theme song, I want to read the quote that you submitted, which
Yes.
take what you have and make what you want by Cleo Moore. So after my theme song, we're gonna chat about this quote that you
All
submitted.
right.
I cannot wait to chat about. Okay, here's the intro.
And with the
Mm.
quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness. Be a kind human. Be a kind human.
Yeah,
I love it.
there you go. That's it. So Faith, um, so I'm trying to think how I want to do this. So I am going to read the quote, and then I want you to tell me who Cleo Moore is to you, and then we're gonna dance for 30 seconds because that's what I like to do.
Okay. I'm going to do a chair dance, though, but okay.
Chair dance is fine.
All
So
right.
the quote is take what you have and make what you want by Cleo Moore. Who is Cleo Moore?
Cleo Moore is the greatest human being in the world to my 0 through 6-year-old self.
Love that.
Yes, he is my father.
Mm.
Yes, daddy is he to me he was bigger. He is bigger than life,
Mhm.
and I always wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Oh,
And I remember he was always really well connected. Everywhere we went, somebody knew him. Somebody knew his
wow.
reputation. Somebody worked with him and had just amazing things to say about my daddy. And so I knew that, wow, I want to be like that. I want people to know who I am wherever we go. And I want people to say good things about me to my children. And yeah, so that's where I get it from. That's where I get that, you know, desire um, to never burn bridges.
Yeah.
But
I
the
mean,
quote, but the quote came from, he always wanted me to be resourceful. He always wanted me
mm,
to, our household was never the household where you get the designer clothes, or you don't get the Malibu Barbie. You might get a Kmart Barbie,
yes,
but
yes,
you don't get the Malibu Barbie, the beach set. You don't get that.
yeah,
You get clothes from the
yes,
department store name brand,
yes,
not name brand, but
yes,
pennies.
yes.
And that's what you get. And it really discouraged me for so long, but he always said, take what you have and make what you want. Take what you
I'm,
have and make what you want.
listen, I'm going to say this. You have followed in your daddy's footsteps because, and it's so funny. And this is one of the reasons why I love having these kinds of conversations is because I learn so much, not just about the person who I'm talking to, but the person who also said the quote and really just the whole experience around that. Because You are your daddy. And it's so funny because when I think of you, I think of the master connector because Faith knows everybody and she will hook you up with whoever you need to be hooked up with. I mean, which for me says a lot about your tenacity to create relationships, which I think is one of the things that is missing in today's society. Because so many people, I believe that there are people who just want to get the hookup,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Sorry, my daughter's playing with her toys.
It's so
If you can
good.
hear that in the back,
It's
so
okay.
it brings me joy to hear her play
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't know my daughter has special needs, and
Hmm.
to hear her playing with her toys is like, wow, she's doing something. She's having fun with the toys on her own, and so it's joyful to me when
Yes.
I hear that. So throughout this whole conversation, if you hear that music, just know that inside in my body, I'm like, oh yay,
This is
yay.
exciting. I love that. I love that. So, before we get too far into the conversation, we're going to dance for 30 seconds. How about that?
Okay,
Because,
let's go.
I love dancing for a multitude of reasons, but one reason is because it really reduces stress, gets your heart rate pumping, and you might even learn a dance move or two. So we only dance for about 30 seconds. You can dance if you like, or just listen to the music. But
Okay.
here it is. Woo.
Woo, yay.
Everybody needs to dance for about 30 seconds.
That was good.
So before we dance, we were talking about your daughter and
Yep.
what a joy she is. And it's so funny when you were talking about her playing, I immediately went to the quote that you submitted because she is taking what she has
Mm-hmm.
and making what she wants. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, that's what
She
she's
does.
playing.
Yeah.
She's
She
playing.
doesn't care if it's not, well, it's designer to her.
Yeah.
Her grandmother bought those toys. I said, Mom, I think you were, just trying to be funny, buying the loudest toys in the store for her. But it's a joyful noise to me. And I don't care
Mhm.
what time of the night I hear it. It's like, oh, yay. She's found something that she enjoys. She
Yes.
also loves paper. So if you hear a magazine ripping, that's her too.
I
So she's busy. She's leaving me alone.
is present for her daughter. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Making sure everything is staying upright here. Okay. Think I froze a little bit.
Listen, that's one of the things that I've learned in podcasting is as much as I want things to be perfect, what I realize is that it's just not how life is.
You got that right.
I mean,
You got that right.
it's
But
just
you know what? there's an can I say another quote? It's not really a quote. So
Yes.
one thing I learned, I think I was watching television one time, and um this grandmother was talking to her grandkids, and she said life should be like a roller coaster. You know, roller coasters are more fun if there's, big ups and big downs,
Yes.
Nobody likes a flat roller coaster. And
Right.
that's what life is. Nobody wants a flat life. You want some ups, you want some downs, you want some excitement in your life. And so those
Absolutely.
things I really appreciate. I appreciate the ups and I appreciate the downs. And I
Yes.
appreciate those peaceful times too.
Yeah.
So yeah, those times you rest before you get ready to do another dip and
Yes.
drop and climb.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny you say that because I've been realizing that it's really those times where, um, so I've learned to call them triggers. When I'm
Hmm.
triggered, that that creates a space for me to either learn, heal, or make a new choice. And so if I
Breathe that in.
yeah, and so if I never have, if I'm, I call it skipping along. If I, if I, if all I am doing is skipping along, then, that's, I'm not stretching or growing. I'm not producing any muscle, any mass because I'm doing what I've always done.
Hmm.
And so I am also learning, even though when I'm in the midst of the trigger, it doesn't feel like a skip.
I get it.
I mean, it does not feel like a skip. But it's in those moments that I rise to the occasion, or I can make the choice to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, yeah.
And so of course we're going to talk about your quote, but that's also one of the things that I am learning in the results for tomorrow. You
Woosah.
know, it's it's the day before election day.
It is. It is. And quite frankly, um, I think it's full of anxiety. A lot of people feel anxiety. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Whichever side of, whoever you choose, it's still full of anxiety. And I it's comforting to know that I'm not the only one, but it's scary to know that I'm not the only one, because I'm so used, and I think a lot of us are so used to people having the answer
Hmm.
and knowing what the right thing to do is, and fighting for that right thing. But right now it's sort of like we don't have anybody to fight for us. We don't have anybody to really that we can really look up to and say, well, they got it under control.
Hmm.
Every day we're free falling. We're not on a roller coaster. We're more like a skydive.
Yeah.
We're free falling every single day, and we don't know. And especially tomorrow, and it was really scary. It was really scary, when I first would hear even television reporters say things like, this is a scary situation. This is this is unprecedented. There's nothing like this. I mean, it just there would usually reporters would usually try to buffer it with something,
Soothe us. Soothe us.
yeah,
Yeah.
something soothing. But now I feel their fear.
Yeah.
you know they they have that fear, and I think we feel it, and you know that's the power of media.
Hmm.
We feel whatever the media or medium is. If we ingest it, if we digest it, that's going to be inside of us.
You
And
know,
that's why it's
absolutely.
yeah, it's really important. as a person in the media, to understand that you are creating something that other people are going to put into their brains.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's the power of the media. But we also have to be aware that, it's not the end all be all. It's just one person's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one poll. It's
Mm-hmm.
just one test
Mm-hmm.
or result. Breathe.
You know what? And I tell you the thing that I have been holding in my spirit, and I was talking to a couple of my sister school. I call them my sisters.
Yeah.
Remember saying that Iyanla had spoken, and she did a talk and just basically said she was going to be okay. And that's the first thing is I know I'm going to be okay. And the second thing I've thought is this too shall pass. And so for me, I get that there's a lot of energy and talk and passion around what the results are tomorrow. But this too shall pass.
Hmm.
We are going to be okay, no matter what the results are, because we've been okay. It hasn't been what we would have chosen, no. But what I really think about is the fact that we are setting records by the number of people voting.
Yeah.
Like people are serious.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking who you're voting for,
Nope.
but
Just votes.
the sheer fact that we are setting records for the number of people who are voting, I think is very impactful.
One thing, I used to be really kind of critical. I would hear people, I'd go to church and hear people say, I say, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, every day above ground is a blessing. I'm just glad to wake up." I'm
Bless
like, "Man, is that all you want out of life? That is horrible. Don't you want more than that? What kind of God you serve to just get you up? Is that
Yep.
it?"
Yeah.
I get it. I get it now.
Yes. Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Just think, we survived. Remember 9/11?
Oh my
Do you
God.
remember how that changed, how you felt changed that day? It was like, nothing will ever be the same,
Yes.
ever.
Yes.
And we thought, man, this is going to be really hard to go through. And it was,
Yes.
but we survived and we adapted.
Yes.
And then, so tomorrow, it's just been really, really, it's going to be really hard. But we have the capacity to adapt, and hopefully everything will be peaceful. And I think it's just the not knowing.
And
And
I also think that, and I said I was going to do a podcast on this because I have said this quote a bajillion times over the last couple of weeks. And that is, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And I think we talked a little bit about that today as we were
hmm
speaking. And for me, I I'm learning in school to mind my own business. And what that means for me at this time is to really pay attention to how I'm showing up during this process. So
yeah.
I've had very difficult conversations about this process. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning. Here's one thing that I learned about this process is My beliefs, I feel very strongly about. And the people who have a belief that is opposite of mine, they also feel very strongly about what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm right, and they think they're right. But for me, what I am learning and leaning into is, if everybody's in their corner, what are we creating? You know what I'm saying? And I understand
Mm-hmm.
you agree to disagree. I get that. But I am really being conscious of my thoughts around people who don't believe the way I believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to do is become the oppressor. You know?
And that really too is the challenge for us all, because it's so easy to only see our side, to
Yeah.
only see, I feel like, mm, I can't imagine why anybody else would feel otherwise.
Hmm.
And, they feel the same way.
Yes.
And so when I feel like that, when I feel like, when I get all angry, I think, okay, well, let me look at these people. Let me look at this person, one person at a time,
Hmm.
instead of a group,
Yes.
because it's a lot easier if you can see a face, or if you can put a name or a face to what they're thinking, what they're believing. It's sort of like being in traffic, in your traffic jam, and
Hmm.
somebody cuts you off and you want to go and chase them down, or you
Yes.
cussing at them or whatever. But if you were to see them, if you knew who they were, you don't know, maybe their child is really sick and they're trying to go to the
Yes.
hospital, or
Yes.
maybe they're late for work and they only have one time left to be late,
Yes.
or maybe they just weren't paying attention.
Yes.
But you don't want to kill somebody for that. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want somebody to be, want to kill me for a mistake I made,
Yes.
or not thinking, or just not paying attention. But I
Mhm.
think that's where that empathy comes in.
Yes.
You have to feel what other people are feeling, and I hope, you know, for tomorrow, we all feel for the other person, for our brother and our sister, no matter who they are, no matter what they believe. They
Yes.
believe that because that's their experience.
Yes.
And who's to say, if I was in that position, I wouldn't feel the same way?
Yes.
If
Yes.
heck, if my hair was blonde and I was blue eyed and, you know, making a certain amount of money, I might want to keep my bit of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have to feel like, I just have to be empathetic, and I have to feel like they're not, it's not personal,
Right.
even though it feels personal to everybody.
Yes. Yes. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift a bit.
Let's lighten it up.
Let's shift,
Yeah.
shift to Cleo's quote.
Yeah.
So, can you remember the first time you heard your dad say that, or can you give me an example of when he said that? What do you think he meant? When he said, "Take what
Take
you
what you
have
have
and make
and
what
make
you
what you want.
want." Hmm.
Yes. Yes. So I told you, my dad, I love clothes, and I love, of course, shopping, like, most kids do. My dad was like, no, we're not going to do that. He would go next door and ask the next door neighbors if they have any clothes that they need.
I love him.
I got my next door neighbors. I mean, of course, their hand me downs were like things that I was thinking was like, ooh, that's great. I thought it was
Mhm.
great. At the time, I didn't even think about it being as, oh my God, I'm getting somebody else's hand me downs. But at the time, I was thinking, oh wow, okay, I got this, I got that. Some new shoes, and he would never want me to buy any other color shoes other than black because it's not practical.
So funny.
Or he would
Nice.
he just took what he made. I think I might have been around 8 or 10 years old when he would tell me that, and take what you have and make what you want, because he wasn't getting me anything new, but every Christmas he would make my brother and I a present. So one year, he out of wood, he built a whole kitchen set. He built a stove with I believe it was a refrigerator. I mean, life size for a kid.
Yes.
And he did that. He built my brother a toy chest, shaped like a train. I mean, he did all
Wow.
kinds of things, but he would do that. And now he's 78 years old and he has Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why that quote means so much to me now, because,
Mm.
you know, wow, my dad's memories are leaving him.
Yeah.
And so all I have are the memories that I have of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why it's so special. And you know, when the way I live my life, the way I kind of took the lemons and made lemonade,
Yes.
it it forced me to be creative. It
Yeah.
forced me to say, hey, I want to be popular, but what I have is I'm an introvert and I'm shy. So
Yes.
how can I turn this introversion and shyness into popularity? Okay, what do I have to do so that I don't have to talk to people? Because I didn't want to talk. So
Mm-hmm.
how can I do that? And then I would look at different people, different examples, and say, hey, how did they get on TV? What do they have to do? Who are they? What's their backstory? And then I would study them and see how they got to be where they are.
Yeah.
And then I'd try to do that. And then I said, oh well, wait a minute, they had this and this trait, or this or this education. And I said, well, I don't have that. Well, how can I make up for it? So whatever I had to figure out, how can I make up for that deficit and turn it into a positive? So that's what I feel like I want to help other people do. So many other people don't have those degrees, or they don't have the big bucks, but they have a great idea.
Yeah.
They have a great talent or skill
Yeah.
that they want other people to know about, or maybe they can monetize. I don't know. I mean, I'm not telling you how to be a gajillionaire or a millionaire. I can tell you how to amplify your idea, or amplify your promote yourself. So that's what I learned how to do, no matter what. And so for 22 years, I think I told you, I worked as a janitor
Yeah.
for 22 years.
Yeah.
And while I was working as a janitor, I figured out, well, how do I lead a networking organization? How do I get to speak to people? Who would want to listen to a janitor? Well, how do I do that? Or how do I get to interview people? How do I get to meet celebrities? How do I get to interview celebrities?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do I get to produce a TV show? I took what I had and made what I want. And another quote that goes along with it is, done is better than perfect.
You're gonna make me throw this microphone. Woo,
Done is better than perfect.
say it one more time.
Done is better than perfect.
So okay. So first, I want to talk about um, what you were saying about how you have taken your father's quote and magnified it. Because, and I want my listeners to hear this, if you have an idea, you need to call Faith. And whatever she charges, it's worth it because you are going to leave with 473,000 ideas of what you can do, how you can do it, the layers of how you can do it. I think we talk randomly. Oh, because I have Mimosa the Masterpiece in a box and I am shipped, because everybody's quarantined. So now
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to have boxes shipped to, shipped to them so that they can paint. And I had to stop what I was doing and get out a pencil and a piece of paper because she just had idea after idea. And so it's so funny that um, I can remember talking to you over the years and just how, as you sit before me today, it's very clear to you what your gift is, that you can listen to someone's idea and tell them how to take it up 47 notches, which is not the same as a whatever big fill in the blank title you might be having. But
Yeah.
it's a critical part of life, especially if you're in business. Because what I see, Faith, is you are able to see the things that when you're in it, you can't really see it. You know?
Tawana, you know what? That's key because as I work on, monetizing my business, I think my big as I work on monetizing my business, one of the things that I was craving was somebody to please tell me what is the value that I bring to the marketplace. Who can use what it is that I have? And I know so many other people are in that same position. And so when I am able to be outside of the picture frame, they say you can't see the frame, the picture for being in the frame. So when I'm outside of the frame, I can see where things can go. I can see how you can magnify your voice and get that social proof. So you're on the lips of other people
Yes.
all over the world.
Yeah.
So those are the things that it just flows, and it feels amazing because I hear my old coach David Bridgeforth. He used to always say, "Listen to the listening." When you're speaking
Mm.
to somebody, listen to the silences, listen to the
Mhm.
ohs, and listen to the
Yes.
ahs. Like, so you're listening to the listening, and
Yes.
so I can hear when somebody's having an aha moment,
Mhm.
and that's like new to them, and it's like person after person after person, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what people really want,
Yes.
even if they have established businesses.
Yes.
Ah, okay, I can see this.
Especially if they have established businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Yeah.
because here is another thing that you taught me, and I have not done it yet, but I am. I shared something on LinkedIn. No, I think I shared it on Facebook about how you just really breathed life into me after our conversation. And then I think you shared it on LinkedIn. And then I got something from you saying, "Hey, Tawana, can you um, give
Oh,
me?"
recommendation.
I was like, "Well, look at Faith. I mean, just you know, just to ask for that." I was like, "That's why she is so great at what she does." Because
Mm.
because for me, the difference is I can create things, but I stumble in the selling of those things.
You're not the only one.
Exactly.
You're not. And that's why it's so important for other people to show you the value
Yes.
that you're bringing.
Yeah.
And there are books after books. There's tons of books about how to price your product, how to value it, how to value your product,
Mhm.
how to you know so many people are afraid to put a price tag on what it is that they do because they don't understand the true value.
Mhm.
And I mean, present company included. It's girl. Let
But
me
you know,
tell you.
here's what I've learned. Here is one thing that I've learned, and I talked to a fellow podcaster about this yesterday. It or today is this is the reason why. Listen, everybody listening to me, listen to what I'm about to say. This is the reason why you need to stay in action and always be doing the thing that you believe you do not have the capacity to do. And that is because it's not in the accomplishing of the task, it's in the doing of the accomplishing of the task. So for me, this is not about me podcasting. This is about the journey of me podcasting. So hear what I'm saying. This is about me doing the thing that I have been most frightened to do, which is use my voice. Because in my mind, the years that have gone past, I have not used my voice because I have been judging it so harshly. Yes. And so for me to decide I'm going to make a different choice because I want a different experience. And what that
Yeah.
looks like is me podcasting. And here's the thing, listen, it is nowhere near perfect. We've had outages, we've had people go offline. One episode, I forget to do the dance. The next episode, I forget to do the theme song. But what it's about is me appreciating the steps that I am taking and not allowing myself to remain stuck.
Can I tell you a story?
Yes, ma'am.
So years ago, my daddy, he always had me going to different business things. He always wanted me to be in business.
Of course.
And he was in Amway. If you're familiar with
Yeah.
Amway,
Yes.
so
Yes.
so he would take me to these Amway rallies, and they would always have these people up on stage in these gowns and beautiful, you know, everything was just top notch. They would show pictures of their homes, their
Mhm.
RVs, their cars, and talk about the vacations they have all the time, right?
Mhm.
So I'm 13 years old
Love
at
it.
an Amway rally.
Mhm.
But I would listen to the stories and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You have to have a really hard story in order to be up on that stage, because they were always talking about
Mm.
being well, we had to sell our dog so we can afford to buy the box of soap, or
Yep.
I would sleep at the stoplights in between because I was so tired, or um, we lived with my mom, or we stayed at, it was just a hard stories that each and every one of them had. And
Yes.
so for my 13-year-old self, I'm thinking, oh, I can't possibly be up there until I have a, a great story. I can't
Mhm.
go on this straight flat line of life and get up on stage and talk about how everything was the same. No, I need some good stories.
Yes.
So when I had my daughter and I realized that she was had special needs, it was like, oh, this is going to be a great story.
I love that perspective, though.
Yes. I mean, really, it was just like that. And then
Yeah.
going through divorce, and the pain and the hurt that causes,
Yes.
it was like, oh man, this is going to be a really great story.
Yes.
The things up until, oh, this is going to be great. I'm just racking up the stories because
Love it.
this is what I'm going to have when I get up on that big stage and start talking to people.
Yeah.
They're going to want to have some true stories.
Yes.
And so all along, I'm knowing that these painful growth opportunities are
Yeah.
really great stories for me to share with people. And
Yes.
now my goal right now is to get my story into Forbes magazine, into Forbes.com or Forbes
Speak
magazine. So
it
I'm working on that. I've
existence.
had been quoted in like Washington Post and Wall Street Journal and Ebony and a bunch of other publications, AARP,
Love it.
and Forbes is like the a big one.
Yes.
Entrepreneur,
Yes.
that's where I want to be. But it's just like you said, it's the journey.
It
So
is.
when I had was mentioned in Wall Street Journal, I thought, oh wow, everything's gonna change now.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, no, did
No.
not.
I know.
Nothing changed,
Yeah.
but I have that logo on my website, my LinkedIn, all that. And that's what I'm gonna do with the Forbes. It's not the end, it's the journey,
Yes.
because it's been a long time since I've been trying to do that. I'm working on building a relationship with a journalist at
Mm-hmm.
Forbes
Yes.
and just saying, hey,
Yeah.
staying on your radar and doing all of this. It's been
Love
a
it.
long time, but
Yes.
that's one of my goals. So
Mm. I think, for me, I think, so even as it relates to podcasting, one of the things that you said is done is better than perfect. And that is something that I believe um, we could all learn to do.
yeah.
Because even myself, there are times where, you know, I put on makeup for you, Faith.
Girl, I put on makeup for you. I wasn't going to do it. I said, oh, shoot. You know what? I just want to be natural. I want everybody to think, I just want to be natural. I didn't really feel like it, but
Yeah.
I'm like, shoot, I got to do it for my girl. I
Listen,
got to show up for her.
listen. But I'm telling you, like, this has shown me that nobody really cares about that.
Nope.
People want to hear a word. People want to have aha moments. People
Mm-hmm.
want to see me as my authentic and vulnerable self.
Girl.
And it's so funny. I was a guest on Gift to Shift podcast
Ooh.
talking about my divorce. And I was a bit triggered at first. 'Cause,
Hard to turn it off.
I don't want to put all my business in the street. But what settled me was that, Tawana, maybe this can help somebody, I mean, because for years I judged myself harshly for being divorced twice. And
Girl, that's nothing.
listen, vowed I would not be doing that. And then look, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, God, you got jokes. Thanks.
Three is a charm. And you know what, Tawana? I've I I don't know. For me, because I decided that I needed some good stories in my life,
Hmm.
I really wasn't so fearful or feeling like people were judging me too harshly. I didn't really judge myself
Hmm.
too harshly because I knew I needed some stories. Not to say
Hmm.
that I wasn't having some really kind of bad self-talk from now and then, every now and then, but um, you know, I've been married 3 times, and this is 17 years. It'll be 18 years in May.
I love
So
that. I
yeah,
love
he's
18 years in May.
18 years in May, and I just want people should just be happy and have peace in
Yes,
their life. One
yes,
of the things I learned was, life is not like a soap opera.
it It is not.
It should not be like a
There
soap
are no
opera.
commercial breaks.
No commercial breaks. When
None.
you have a baby, you look bad for a long time.
Yes, you stretched out and everything. Yeah.
Right, right. Shoot, they never have to go down to the grocery store to pay a bill or something like that. They never have to worry about those things. But in real life, we do.
Absolutely.
We really do. And so you want somebody. Okay, so I'll be 54 in December.
Girl, you better go with 54 and with
Child.
44.
And so I always tell my friends, I say, look, when you're looking for somebody to love you, you want to make sure you got somebody who will change your diapers, who
Mhm.
will be willing to change your diapers,
Mhm.
because it's coming to that.
It is. You're right.
Because
Yeah.
you get sick, you might have surgery.
All of
You
that.
want somebody who's going to be there with
Yes.
you then.
Yes.
Never mind, hey, they're not the best dresser, or they're not the most articulate, they don't have the highest vocabulary.
Yeah.
You want somebody who's real, who loves you, who will take
Yes.
care of you. If,
Yes.
my love language is, bringing me food.
Girl, don't you love some good?
My love
Give me
language.
some crab.
Let me see.
Give me some snow crab cakes.
Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, give me
I
some
had some today.
or some crab cakes. And listen,
Mm,
I am your friend to the end.
I know. I know.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, he does everything that I need him to do,
I love
and and that makes him happy. He does. I mean, it's what he would do naturally. So it's
absolutely.
not like I'm having to ask him to do things. No, it's what he does naturally. Now, does he do every single thing? And do I do every single thing? No.
Yeah.
And a lesson I learned was I have to be the kind of person that I would want to be with.
Girl,
So when
listen.
I was single, I said, I want a man who, has this and that, their own 300,000 house
All
and
that ain't what.
BMW and all of these things. And I'm like, well, shoot, Faith, you don't have all of that.
What are you bringing to the table?
Right. What am I bringing to the table?
Absolutely.
Had
Yeah.
to check on my baby. What am I bringing to the table?
Yes.
So I had to, kind of adjust my expectations,
Yes.
because if I'm not going to be providing that to somebody, who am I to ask somebody to provide that for me?
Absolutely.
So that really just like, ooh,
Yeah. It brings it on home.
it did.
It brings it on in. It really
There's
does.
that mirror up to
Yes.
my face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, if I'm not willing to do it, then, and if I don't possess it in myself, how dare I ask somebody else to do that?
And here's what I'm learning is that it all begins with me.
Mm-hmm.
That I have to love myself, care for myself, appreciate myself, respect myself. Like it all comes back to me.
Yep.
And that keeps me busy enough. That keeps me busy
Yeah.
enough just getting that stuff under control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so um, I love, love, love that you brought the quote from your dad and that it holds such fond memories.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's a part in the podcast that put my hat on. So this is my coaching hat.
Okay. I'm ready.
So since I'm a life coach, that I put my hat on, and my intention is to always leave the listeners with some nuggets, some things that they can take away from the episode and either be kind to themselves or show kindness to others. And so I'm going to do this a little different. I want to hear something that you would like to leave the listeners with, and then I'll give mine.
Mm. So, you know, today's November 2nd. I'd love to keep our episodes evergreen, but tomorrow is such a huge day. I have to. I can't not. Um, I want the listeners to look at each person with a dissenting opinion as a mother, a daughter, a son, a nephew, somebody's child, and to feel that love for them like you would want them to feel for you. And, you know, it's hard to do it in mass, but if you can find one person
Mm-hmm.
in a crowd and say, that's somebody's mother, that's
Mm-hmm.
somebody's daughter, that's
Mm-hmm.
somebody's aunt, somebody loves them,
Mm-hmm.
and take that away tomorrow. And I'll be right with the audience, you know, working on that same exercise.
Yep. Yep. Great point. And it's so funny. This is the second time that he has come to mind, which makes me realize that I need to say his name, and that is Martin Luther King,
Mm,
the father of nonviolence. And
yeah,
the reason why I bring him up is because I just don't believe fighting each other is going to help. Now, I don't know what can help. I'm be like, I don't have the answer. But what I'm learning is fighting is not the way to do it,
yeah,
because everybody has a fist, everybody has mean words. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
I don't have the answer, but what I'm learning from me is I don't believe fighting each other is the answer.
no.
That's what I'll say about that.
They say hurt people
Hurt.
hurts people.
Yes.
I want to thank, I have an angel here. His name is Steve Noodleberg.
Hmm.
He's down in West Palm Beach, Florida. And he is one of the kindest, gentlest people that I've ever come across. And
Hmm.
I've only known him a couple of months. But I think of peace, I think of him.
Hmm.
I think of kindness, I think of him.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think we just have to take it one person at a time. Hurt people, and it can stop with us.
Hmm.
You can stop the hurt and return love. It's easier said than done.
It is. we're gonna we're gonna keep striving for it, Faith.
That's the
Every
goal.
day. We're gonna
Bring on those roller coasters.
keep, yes. Okay, so I have two things that I want to leave the listeners with. One, when you sent me the quote, "Take what you have and make what you want," the first thing that came to me was um, to have a vision for your life. And so, even in making what you want, you what is that? Like, what do you want? Do you know what you want? And so, really taking some time to think about how do you create something that you do want with what you currently have? Like what is that? Because if you can see and know something that you want or desire, then you can start making the changes and taking the steps in that direction. And the other thing is, you got to do the work. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you got to do the work.
nobody's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
One of the first episodes that I did, the quote was, "Nobody's coming to save you." Like we are trying to save ourselves. So, you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like you,
Yeah.
everybody, like you gotta do.
But when did you learn that lesson, Tawana? When did you learn that? I know when I learned that lesson for myself. When did you learn that?
I learned it when I got divorced the second time. I was like, I had to pay a lot of money. That's when the housing market was jacked up. I had to pay a lot of money to get out of that. And it's like, okay, well, you can cry about it or do something else. So I did cry about it and then I did something. You know what I'm saying? Because like,
You had to.
you know, everybody is dealing with their own stuff. And did I
Hmm.
have people who cared for me and about me? Absolutely. But I had to do the work to rebuild my even my desire to even be in a relationship again. I had to
Yeah.
rebuild. I had to rebuild, because I always said I was a terrible picker. I don't know how to pick, so I ain't pick. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to. I don't know how to pick, and so I'm not picking.
Look,
So,
I wanted for my first husband. I said I want somebody that's gonna make pretty babies.
girl,
I
listen,
want pretty babies. That was the
we
first
did that.
criteria. That lasted 10 years. But then, that same time during the divorce, I realized, oh, wait a minute. Nobody's going to come in and help me get to what I want to do or help me fulfill my goals. Nobody's asking me that. Oh, my goodness. I was like 30 years old.
Yes,
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so I have to do it.
yes,
Nobody's coming to me. And
yeah.
that's when I thought I was old then, girl, 30 years old. I thought, oh
Listen,
my God, my life is half over.
mm,
But you know what? I didn't start actively going towards what you see now
mhm.
until I was 42 years old.
I love it. I love it because it's never too late.
Mm-mm. And I have so much more I need to do and I want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me get going
Yes.
on this because I see myself in different places and speaking to
Yeah.
different people.
Yes.
But yeah, it's never too old and you never too late. I
Mm-mm.
love speaking to people, to parents who have special needs children or children with special needs or people who have special circumstances where, oh, you know what, I'm a janitor. How am I going to get out of this? Or, I work in a dead end job. How am I going to get out of this? Or even I work in corporate,
Yeah.
especially. How
Yeah.
am I going to get out of this with these golden handcuffs?
Yes.
I love figuring out how can you expand and live your dreams because I never would have thought, as I was a janitor interviewing Dan Rather
I love
with
that.
no degree, no journalism, nothing. And I'm like, how did I do this? Oh my God.
That is so
Isn't that
amazing.
crazy?
Yes. And I
It's
love it.
crazy. But just think, nobody asked me what kind of degree I had.
Because people don't care about that. They do not. Girl, listen. It's so funny because people sometimes they come in the studio and they're like, well, how long have you been painting? I mean, I can, but I'm not a professional. you
But
know,
your done was better than perfect.
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, I mean, people just, I think people honor you just, Brene Brown talks about getting into the ring. You know what I'm saying? I think people just, and there are times where I listen to people's podcasts and I'm like, wow, they are so polished. Like this,
I know.
everything is perfect. But that's not me.
Nope,
I guess
me neither. I mean,
put on a hat like that looks like this.
girl, I need a hat. I don't have a hat right here, but one of the things for me when I'm like, man, I say girl all the time. I don't care whose podcast I'm on. I'm like, girl,
I love it.
because that's
You know
just
what it is? You
me.
know what it's for me?
What?
Listen. When I say listen, that means. I want you to say something. That's what that means.
I know. You can't take it out, but
Listen.
that's me and that's
Mhm.
you. And really that's what people want.
Yes.
People I can't identify with somebody who's perfect.
Mm.
One thing I'm like after this COVID, I got COVID 50. I don't have no COVID 19 pounds. I got like
Mm.
COVID 50 pounds.
Listen,
Like,
I
oh
get
my
it.
God. But you know what? A lot of people do.
Yep.
And a lot of people want to see, hey, how can I function with this extra weight?
Yes.
How can I function, when I can't go anywhere? How
Yes.
can I function? And they want to see how are other people doing it.
Yes.
And so this is an example.
It is.
Done is better than perfect.
Girl, listen, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do another episode on done is better than perfect. That's a winner right there. I got about 3 more quotes out of this episode. Oh my goodness, Faith, thank you so much. This has been such a treat. Thank
Oh, Tawana,
you. This
thank
really
you.
has.
Thank you for putting in the work to create this platform, to let us into your life and your heart. It's such an honor to, when this is one thing I learned too. When you have a platform and you invite somebody on there to speak to your audience,
Mhm.
that is a high honor because these are the people that you have cultivated, you've cultivated trust
Yeah.
with this audience, and they want to hear what you have to say, and they want to hear who you have to offer, what kind of things you think are good to listen to. And this is a high honor. I so much appreciate it, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Faith. And listen, I have put Faith's contact information in the show notes. If you, I was thinking she's not, maybe you're kind of, I was going to say you are a brand manager, but maybe you are an idea brand manager.
Yeah, so I take what you have.
Listen, so if you like have something but you're not really sure, please contact Faye because
Yeah.
she's a game changer. And so Faith, now, we're at the time where you get to listen to my theme song again.
All right.
Before we go, here we go.
Mm.
And with the quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness. Be a kind human. Be a kind human.
Thanks for listening.